I just want to say that I can understand the frustration. Every day you're reading a different article, seeing a different interview. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? It's frustrating. It's frustrating. But we all have to understand that it doesn't really matter what we want. As the fans, it does not matter what we want. So if it doesn't matter what we want, then we have to make sure we do what we can do to make sure that the fight does happen. So I'm going to tell you right now, I have some news from Jim Lampley himself and Andre Ward himself from Real Combat Media colleague Eli Garcia. And the fight is no closer than it's ever been to happening as far as Andre Ward and Jim Lampley. Now, why would they say that? Now, if you don't know about this source, what I'm telling you is this. I joined Real Combat Media about closer to 4 months ago. Because of Real Combat Media, I was able to attend Bernard Hopkins versus Sergey Kovalev. So I'm going to go to a fight or cover an event fully maybe every other month or every 2 months, something like that. That's what I'm working around the clock right now to make sure I can do that effortlessly and flawlessly, just like I do these videos here. So this fight, Rosado versus Lemieux, I didn't go. Another person from RealCombatMedia.com, the link is right below, went. So I'll be uploading some stuff from that, yada, yada, yada. Moving on, he got a chance to talk to Andre Ward and Jim Lampley. Jim Lampley, commentator, Hall of Fame commentator now for HBO. Andre Ward, the current WBA Super World, whatever he is, champion. We don't know because he doesn't fight. But regardless, they would be in the know, right? They would know something, right? Especially Jim Lampley, right? He would know something. You know? He would know, wouldn't he? Well, here's what we're hearing. If we mix in those facts that I have for you right there. Those are facts. Jim Lampley, Andre Ward. They should know what's going on, right? They should know what's going on. And then what we've been hearing as far as the media, Manny Pacquiao versus Karceno Arum, 300 to 400,000 pay-per-view buys. That's the bracket. Whatever the number is, that's the bracket. It's lower than Pacquiao versus Rios. But I have to point this out to you. This should make sense if you're the type of person that, if you listen to the things I say, you say, let me go Google this shit, see if you're telling the truth. Listen, you get substantial. I'm not just using that term, that word loosely. Substantial tax breaks fighting in Macau. It's hard for me to believe, and I know I say Bob Arum is an old man and old people do old stuff and say old people stuff, you know, I acknowledge that. And I had the privilege to participate in a media call with Bob Arum and heard him say live that he predicted Pacquiao versus Algieri would do 700,000 buys. Now, automatically, I've been covering boxing on YouTube for about closer to 4 years. Oh, my 4-year anniversary just passed and I missed it. My 4-year anniversary was probably like 2 weeks ago and I missed it. How do I forget something like that? Anyway, so what I'm saying is you have to look at, well, HBO made some cuts. There was no face-off, no HBO face-off with Max Kellerman. There was only one episode of HBO 24/7. I mean, what is Chris Algieri's in the basement? So, you know, you think about that and you think about, well, there was really no promotion for the fight. Maybe they were looking at the Showtime situation that was going on, and those guys know. Those executives over at HBO Sports, they know all the numbers that's going on with Show. They, you know, come on, let's just use common sense. So they're probably thinking like, damn, they lost all that money with that Floyd made down. You know what? We're not going to be getting that same boat. Listen, we're going to put this fight on pay-per-view, even though it shouldn't be on pay-per-view. But we're going to cut everything. We're going to cut everything down to the bare bones. One episode of HBO 24/7 for Pacquiao. What kind of crap is that? So you look at the fact that they're fighting away from the American audience. You have to use your mind and think, well, if they're not fighting in the United States, that's going to affect the pay-per-view sales as well. Bob Arum pointed out, I forgot what article it was. I just read it today. I forgot the name of it. I'm sorry, whoever wrote it. that when it came to the Thriller in Manila, it didn't do well over here just because it was out of the country. And what I'm saying is, let me try to simplify it better. Las Vegas. If Pacquiao versus Algieri would have happened in Las Vegas, it's one of the type of things that if the tickets were not sold out 2 days, 3 days before, they would have been sold out that night because tourist people are going to be like, oh, yo, that fight's tonight. Let's go. Oh, it's Vegas. There was no buzz in Vegas, as far as, we're going to be showing this pay-per-view, and people had, like, what I'm trying to say is, that could have been another maybe 50,000 bars right there. Just another 50, maybe 100, maybe. If they would have had to fight in the United States. So you have to think, of course, not Bob Arum himself. There's people, accountants, and people who forecast, and the matchmaker, all that. They already talked to Bob way before and said, look, there's a good chance this pay-per-view ain't gonna bring in that much. Low end 250,000 bars, high end 600. So they had to factor in, all right, well, HBO said, listen, they're only going to put this much money in the fight, so we got to make sure you get your money, and then he get his money, and then we getting those tax breaks over there too. So I guess what I'm saying is this: if the fight was in the United States, then maybe it could be considered a failure because of those those taxes. 40-50% of your money going right there. Remember, Manny Pacquiao was not American. That's why he's in this tax shit now, because Bob Arum been moving his money all around the goddamn place. He making money over here, but they don't got to pay the same taxes we pay because he from, So, to clear up that situation, from what I know is, his money has not been taken away from him. He is not broke. And then you can't be broke when you just made a guaranteed $25 million for fighting Karceno goddamn Arum. Care what the pay, he got that money guaranteed. So, I say this. It is deeply hard for me to see Floyd Mayweather walking away, or anybody walking away from $100+ million. And if you don't know what the other information is circling around on the internet is that Floyd Mayweather or Team Mayweather wants Manny Pacquiao to just get a third. Paulie Malignaggi talked about it on the Boxing Voice interview. You should have seen it by now. Boxing Voice interview after Lemieux Rosado. So 1/3. Now, we've been hearing, once again, I'm just using information you can go out there and get yourselves. 200 million is right there on the table. 1/3 of 200 million is 66 million, a little bit above 66 million. But let's break it down even further. What's 1/3 of 100? About 33.3333333333. So what I'm saying to you is this. Floyd Mayweather, they're trying to give Pacquiao closer to 30%. Not even 35. Not 40. Damn, oh no. Now, of course, I understand that this is not a 50-50 fight. I completely understand that. But you have to understand that where else is Floyd ever, or anyone right now in this era, anyone going to make that amount of money in boxing? When is anyone in any sport or anything, anywhere, business world, whatever, maybe, on Wall Street, can someone make $100+ million in 36 minutes? None of this makes sense to me, and I don't know how this makes sense to you, because I get a lot of crap, and I think to myself, how do you walk away from that much money and you expect for people to say that you're not scared? How? None of this makes any sense. And you have to ask yourself, who really gives a shit what Pacquiao is going to make? Because in the future, what people are going to remember is, they're not going to remember that Pacquiao fucked up the negotiations. They're going to remember that, damn, Floyd Mayweather didn't take that 100 million right there. His money is already guaranteed. His money is already guaranteed. But he wants more. I can understand that. But you mean to tell me you're going to say, oh, by the way, 2/3 of 200 million will be 132, something like that? 2/3 of 200 million. So you're going to walk away from that 100 to, let's say, 100 to $150 million in 2 fights with Pacquiao. Even if the second fight has a 40% to 50% drop off, Mayweather could still make his Showtime's contract of money in 72 minutes. The reason why I'm talking this to you is because people say, well, why don't you talk about Pacquiao and the fact that he was on steroids and he turned down the $40 million the first time? You know what I say to that right now is, he turned down that $40 million, but Mayweather's got $100 million sitting on the table right there. TBE, go get that easy work money and then beat Pacquiao up and shut up people like me. Shut everybody up, because no matter what, that night, whatever night he fights Manny Pacquiao, if it ever does happen in history, you know I gotta come on YouTube. And to be perfectly honest with you, it's probably going to be the biggest night of my life. But no matter what, right or wrong, I'm saying, as a black man, I think that Manny Pacquiao has too much aggressiveness for Floyd Mayweather. Now, I'm not going to go deep into a prediction because I'm saving that up and saving. I can talk about the punches. Like when it comes to those 2 fighters, I can go into I'm saving it. But what I'm saying is, I just don't see him. I can't. And if he does, to me, I'll say, listen, TBE. He did everything he had to do, and that it will be only my personal opinion, because people say I hate Floyd. And I just started a whole bunch of shit on my Facebook page, so people think, oh, riled up thing. I don't hate Floyd. Did you see The Dark Knight, the second one? Batman, I need him. Because boxing needs him. What if we didn't have that villain like him? And to be perfectly honest with you, Al Heyman is not doing a good job, as far as making a new star. He's not. You could say, well, he's got this. No, right now, there's nobody that's pay-per-view ready. The closest is Adrian Broner, basically. I'm talking about who can sell. But he's got some things to prove on a skill level so people can believe in him again, just like they did when he was undefeated. It's not there anymore. I can sit here and talk all day about this. And I'm not even going to entertain the Paulie Malignaggi thing, because Paulie Malignaggi in all the big fights, he's always been B-side. And also, he was at an HBO fight on an HBO event, and he works for Showtime. He's Team Mayweather, just by default. So I'm a Paulie Malignaggi fan, so I don't want people to think, oh, why you was hating on me? Yo, I support her. I said Paulie Malignaggi, poor Paulie Malignaggi. I said he was going to beat Sean Porter. Listen, I almost shed a tear for Paulie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm being so serious. I almost shed a tear for Paulie Malignaggi. Because when I was sitting there watching the fight, I'm like, I was hurt. So I just noticed that his attacks on Manny has been relentless for like 2 years. It's just been relentless. And I'm thinking, like, did Manny take one of your side pieces, like, during the Center Pacquiao days? And honestly, I'll never forgive Adrian Broner, because that's one thing you don't do, man. A man's side piece, you don't take a man's side piece. A man's side piece is better than his girl. Now, I got a girl right now. That's what we talking about, side pieces. But a man's side, you don't mess with a man, not the side piece. The only way you can mess with a man, the only way you can mess with the side piece is if you the side piece boyfriend. It's like, all right, he the only one who's like, all right, well, I'm the side, but she the side piece. So I'm thinking maybe, when Pacquiao was, drinking, when people said he was going up, maybe he's just so angry. Will the fight happen? Listen, right now, the media are tired. Fans are tired. Pay-per-view numbers are dropping. Who are you blaming for pay-per-view numbers dropping? Why don't we have any stars? Like real big, guys he's got all these fighters, Mr. Al Heyman. All these fighters. He's got so many super fights he can make. He can bring pay-per-view back. There's just something not right about this guy, man. I'm just saying, you know, like I be trying to support him. I'm like, okay, all right, I see he's an excellent businessman, but it's just something not right because I just don't really feel, I don't genuinely feel like he cares about the fans. So it's like, how can I fully support someone when I really feel you don't care about us? This is like, you know, you see numbers right there. And of course, boxing is a business, but you know why boxing is a business? And now we know it's because he makes sure his fighters tell us, listen, you know, it's a business. We got to make sure the money's right first. Anytime you got Peter Quillen saying the money ain't right for Golovkin, it's like, wait a minute. You walked away from 1.4 million in your belt, dog. And then you fat. You walk around fat now. So it's like, you know, he like my size. And you know, when I say fat, I mean fat like, you know, you're not in your fighting shape. I'm not saying somebody, you know, like obesity or nothing like that. Anyway. I'm not going to sit up here, man. It's redundant because just talking about that money, and it's not my money. I get mad at myself. It's like, yo, you're the most powerful. No, you're the highest paid athlete in the world. You can be the most powerful athlete in the world. You got $100 million sitting right there. What do you think guys like Michael Jordan and LeBron James and those guys like, yo, why don't you just fight him, man? When you think of Jay-Z or a Diddy, you know, thinking like, yo, like all that money right there, like. You got Diddy like, yeah. Huh? Like, what? It's just I see no logic behind it. It's just like, you know, like you accept my demands, even though I'm getting paid more than you. You accept my demands. I don't want you to make 80 million, period. Or no fight. Your money is already guaranteed. Your money is already guaranteed. It's guaranteed. It's right there. All he has to do is sign. Right now, Mayweather, all he has to do is sign one piece of paper. It's right there. None of it makes sense. And let me talk about this executive. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes it frustrates me because after Mayweather beat McDonald the first fight, I did videos even before then talking about eventually those executives gonna come down and they're gonna come down and get their bread. I did like 6 videos. I did multiple videos saying eventually those executives gonna come down and gonna get their bread. So when you got the guy all the way at the top saying, listen, and this is allegedly, listen, y'all make this fight, or Mr. Heyman, you're not going to just be, you know, making whatever fights you want and we're not making no money or holding back fights and all that old bullshit. You should make this fight or we're not having your fighters on this network at all. You're not coming over here doing that HBO shit. You know, so imagine them saying, you know, it's basically because this year, right, Showtime is a network. They put a lot into Floyd Mayweather. Look at the fights they have provided us this year. Look at the bouts they have provided us this year. Golden Boy, that was a Golden Boy card on the 6th. That was last night here on the 6th on the HBO. That was a card that was Canelo's date that should have been on Showtime. You think they get, listen, that's what I think. Like, you know, I think like, do people read or what do people like think of themselves when they just come on here just making comments and everything? They said, why you always worried about Floyd? Pacquiao should have took the 40 million and you know, why didn't he take the blood test? Yo, fuck all that shit. It's 100 million right there, right now. It's 100 million right there, right now. You sound like girls. You sound like girls. It's like, yo, bottom line, fuck all that bullshit. It's $100 million right there, right now. I'm not trying to hear nothing. So people say, it's not about Manny because at this point in time, fuck Manny. Floyd, how you gonna leave that money right there? None of it makes any sense. I'm losing my voice. None of it makes any sense. But yet I get attacked for the immense research I do. Get told I don't know what I was taught. In fact, I can't even really remember the last time I was really down. Of course, everything don't be 100% right, but when it comes to it, I'm not wrong very often. I'm talking about not predictions. You know, sometimes I'll be fucking up. That's because I don't gamble and I don't condone gambling. So I don't tell people, you know, like, well, bet on this person. Nah, that's not me. It's just too much, yo. It's just too much. It's just too much. So when it comes to Al Heyman, listen, he's got those fighters. You got that NBC deal right there. I'm going to save this for another video. TstreeT Controversy Love, Real Combat Media. Please subscribe.